Hi, this is Dr. Zachary Ward, and I'm an upper cervical chiropractor, and I practice in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Every once in a while, someone will ask me, why is it that you do what you do? How is it that you do this kind of strange and odd thing that we've never heard of before? There's a lot of good reasons why I'm a chiropractor, and there's a lot of good reasons why I'm an upper cervical chiropractor specifically. But my motivation for why I do what I do really goes back to when I was 13 or 14 years old. And it involves my brother. He had a lot of pain, and a lot of pain in a way that no one could give us answers for. I'm 4 inches shorter than my brother. He's 6'6". I'm just right about 6'2". And he had a lot of growing pains growing up, and there was this pattern where he would have weeks of pain in the middle of the night. And then it would go away, and then he'd have weeks of pain in the middle of the night, and then it would go away. My parents just felt like it was too much. They needed to go ahead and take him somewhere. They needed to figure out what was going on. And so they took him to our family pediatrician. And the family pediatrician, for the most part, was trying to be helpful, but eventually became dismissive of my parents' concerns. He basically just said, you know what, don't worry about it. It's just growing pains. It's just growing pains. And it's common. But just because something's common doesn't mean that it's normal. My brother used to sit up in the middle of the night and kind of cross his legs like preschoolers do on the floor. And he'd fold himself over and he'd sleep in that position. It was very odd and very, not good for his spine. And his physician, his pediatrician, just called it the Buddha position. Well, that's the Buddha position. I don't think you could look in an art gallery or history book and find a picture of Buddha where he's bent over like that. But anyway, my parents were hurt by this, and they were angry, and they didn't know what to do. And a friend of my mother suggested, you know what, I go to the chiropractor. This woman had multiple sclerosis, and she said, why don't you bring your son to my chiropractor? Anyway, we ended up going. My brother started getting care, and his pain greatly diminished, and his growing pains were, for the most part, gone. Something that was supposed to be normal, common, and dismissed, well, it was solved through chiropractic care. And that experience of my parents really stuck with me. That someone that they know and trusted with the health care of their child, that someone who, diagnosed conditions for their child and gave their child antibiotics and gave their child vaccines, that he would not take them seriously. That feeling, I think I internalized it. And I became an advocate for chiropractic care as a teenager and then as an undergrad, and I would talk about how so-and-so needed to try a chiropractor, even though I had no intention of becoming a chiropractor. It was just something that I thought was important, that people get this opportunity to be adjusted, to know what it feels like to be in alignment, to maybe redefine what's normal for them. I don't like people being told by people who are in charge of their health care, who don't know what's happening, that something is normal, or that it's in their head, or that it's just common, or you're just going to have to learn to live with it. That makes me angry. And I'm here as an alternative to that path that says if it doesn't get solved with drugs or surgery or even just exercise, that you're just going to have to deal with it. Why I do what I do is because I don't think people should be restricted to those options. And I'm ready and willing to serve them when they're ready to step outside that box. Here's the deal, I don't have all the answers either, but I'm certainly not going to tell you that I do when I don't. That's the why behind why I'm an upper cervical chiropractor.